Hello, beauty entrepreneurs. Today's guest goes over her business about making soap, how she came up with the idea, a little glimpse of her process, and you'll be surprised some of the different social media platforms that she uses in her business. So stay tuned if you want to learn more. Welcome to the Business of Beauty, where we help beauty entrepreneurs in building their business and reaching their dreams. This is your host, David Lee. Our guest today has the superpower of remaining calm in any situation and loves to see her customers excited when they first try her product. Her name is Yolanda Russell, the founder of Aava's Divine Wellness. So welcome and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, David. And that's Aava's.
Oh, Aava, sorry.
Yes,
So,
Ava's the daughter.
Gotcha. So Aava's Divine Wellness. So welcome. So Yolanda, let's start off with, tell us about your business.
Well, the business is a natural skincare products. We make natural body products with infused oils. So we use either tea or herbs, and we infuse it into oils and put it into our products.
So you got oils and herbs. You smash it together, and you have your magical products, right?
Something like that.
Well, you see, I'm not an expert in this, but I'm curious. How did you come up with this?
Ooh, long story. Long story short, though, not really short, but some years ago, I was diagnosed with acute dermatitis on my hands, which is an incurable condition. Doctor told me that I was going to have to use these steroids on my hands for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And during that same time, I was studying herbalism and to be a holistic health practitioner. And I looked at him and I said, "Do I have to see you again?" And he said, "Well, no, not unless it gets worse or you need a refill." And I said, "I will never see you again." And I have never seen him again. I've been in and out of remission.
Nice.
You can see my hands.
Yes.
And I started making products from there. That was probably like 2011.
Wow. Now, the journey to that point, I mean, I'm guessing, like, did you close your eyes and randomly picked one? I mean, after doing a lot of research, and then was there like a lot of trial and error? Like, what was that like?
Oh, well, I did do a lot of research, but what happened is I journal. I've been journaling since I was a kid. I had a diary.
Yeah.
And I found an old journal of mine that said that I had a desire to make soap. And I had forgotten about it.
Yeah.
And when that desire came back, it came back really strong after I read that. And I'm like, am I supposed to make soap? And, is that what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah.
So I was afraid to make soap because you have to play with lye. Lye burns you, right?
Yeah.
And so I started with, the business actually started with scrubs and body oils. And it evolved into soaps.
And was that before or after you were diagnosed?
It was after.
It was after. Okay. So you had this like light bulb moment. You're like, hey, I got to find a cure. And then you went through your old journals and you realized, soap, I really like making soap. I want to try making soap. And then when did the herbs come into play? Was it after the research?
Well, I was already studying the herbalism when I came down with the dermatitis. So I was already in the midst of that.
Okay.
So, and to really go way back to 2008, this all started for me because of my love for tea.
Oh, okay.
And I had a young lady named Joy that was at my job, and she just kept coming and saying, "I want to try your tea. I want to try your tea." And I'm like, "I don't sell tea." And she said, "I want to try your tea, and at least twice a week. And I promise you, if she ever sees this, she will crack up."
Yeah.
Because she is the reason why I started selling tea all those years ago. And then it just evolved. And people kept getting sick, and I kept seeing all this medication that people were going on. And I'm like, there's natural remedies. There has to be other ways, because this medication is tearing up our bodies from the inside. So yeah, I guess you can say it evolved.
Yeah. So when people say natural remedies, it's, the proof's in the pudding, right? You can
Hmm.
prove it from through your own experience or your own body, but what would you tell others when they say, it's natural? I don't know. I mean, it's just like, how do I know if this works? What would you tell them?
Well, when you use something herbal or something natural, it's not like getting a prescription. So when you get a prescription, like the doctor put me on steroids yesterday
Yeah.
because of bronchitis. Well, I know that within 24 hours that's going to kick in. Whereas a natural remedy, it takes a little longer. It's from the earth,
Mhm.
so that's what makes it natural.
Yeah.
So I
So,
would just explain that to them that it may take a little bit longer, but it does work.
okay. So from your experience, how long did it take you to, I guess, cure your hands, your skin?
Well, there's no cure,
Yeah, well, no cure, but
but I learned or discovered tea tree oil,
yeah.
and in the form of melaleuca. Well, tea tree is the scientific name is melaleuca,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's actually what really helped me, and it took months,
Wow.
but I began to see the changes, and I was just determined
Yeah.
that I was not going to use, because by the time the doctor told me that I was going to have to use the cream on my hands for the rest of my life,
Mm-hmm.
I was already in, a healed state, a
Yeah.
healing state. But at one point, David, I had no skin on this finger.
Wow.
I had to wear gloves to work, and rubber gloves on top of that because it was constantly leaking.
Mm.
The back of my hands were black, and if I bent it, they would just crack. And it was terrible. I had like zits on my palms, and you've seen me in person, but I wanted to hold my hands up and just
Yeah, yeah, it
see.
looks great.
No one would ever know,
Yeah.
and so it takes determination, and
Yeah.
it takes you get to a point where you're like, I'm tired of all this stuff that I don't even know what it's made from
Mm.
going into my body or being put on my body.
Yeah.
Now, I did say one thing to the doctor. I said, hey, is it true that this cream that you want me to use, these steroids, thin darker pigmented skin, quicker than it does lighter pigmented skin? And he said, yes, but you don't have to worry about that. But my skin was already thin
Mm.
because at one point I had none.
Yeah.
So I would have, and I worked in a hardware store at the time. Come on now.
Yeah.
One doctor told me to quit my job.
Wow.
I asked him, was he hiring? Well, are you hiring? He said, no. I said, well, what am I going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do?
So you got to do something, right?
Yeah.
Um, so at that point, so you're working, or you're coming up with these different types of soaps, and you're fusing with herbs, and you're trying it on your skin, right?
Hmm.
So when, I guess it took you a few months until you figured it out. Okay, yes, this is the correct combination and the correct routine to kind of start seeing results, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. And so the tea tree oil was number one for me at that time.
Yeah.
And then for the inflammation, because tea tree oil is antibacterial.
Mm.
And then for inflammation, I used um, chamomile oil, essential oils.
Yeah.
And so then it paired well. And then lavender being soothing, and it's also anti-inflammatory. So those three essential oils were what I used and what helped me.
Okay, so at that point, the soap wasn't created yet. You're
No.
focusing on the oils on your skin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So then what happened? How do you transition into now soaps?
Now soap. Woo. So I started with melt and pour soaps actually, and I wanted to, because that desire from reading my journal was still there.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, I want to make soap. And so I went to the store and I bought melt and pour soap. And melt and pour soap is something that you just kind of take, you cut it up, you buy it, you cut it up, you put it in a microwave safe container,
Yeah.
pop it in the microwave, melt it down, fragrance it, color it, pour
Mm.
it in a mold.
Okay.
A couple of hours later, you have a bar of soap.
Yeah.
So that was easy and that was safe.
Yeah.
And then I had another coworker friend who said, hey, I made some soap. And I said, oh, I really want to do it. She said, just do it. And so I stepped out and I did. And actually this morning, if I would have thought about it, I would have brought it up. I found a few of my first pieces or first bars that I made
Nice.
this morning.
Nice.
And so I just stepped out there and I just started, researching because I'm a huge researcher.
Yeah. And
And
this is,
yeah,
would you say this is absolute requirement, right?
yeah,
Anyone
yeah,
getting into the beauty business, you can't, it's not like overnight
no,
you come up with the product,
no,
right? So a lot of
no,
research, trial and error, right?
yep,
Back, right?
yeah.
So, and I guess when was this? Was this like a year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago? We're now
I've
in 2020.
2020. So probably 2012, 2013
Okay.
is when when I made my first bar of soap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been making ever since.
Nice. So
Yeah.
when you had that first bar of soap, how did you get the word out there? Like, hey, I sell soap now. I have this soap to offer.
Well, actually, I was using it. I was giving it to family and friends to try it.
Yeah.
I really didn't start right off the bat. It probably took me 6 months to a year before I actually started selling or was had the nerve to step out there.
Yeah.
And the
What
first
was
time that I,
because I'm
huh?
sure others that are experiencing the same thing, right? They're afraid of starting that first business. They're
Yeah,
afraid of, getting it out there. Like what was going through your mind during that
like,
time?
oh, people aren't gonna like it, but I like it. People aren't gonna want to pay for it. But wait a minute. I mean, I put my love and my passion, my everything goes into my products. It's not just something I do, it is a part of me. So I pour me into that,
Yeah.
and so I just had to just trust, trust God that this is what he wanted me to do.
Thanks.
And I stepped out there and the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah. So I guess when you stepped out, what type of feedback were you getting?
Oh, I got feedback like, oh, I really love the soap, or a lot of people, when I first started, I was just making soap just to be making soap because I learned about the ingredients that you really can't read when you buy a bar of soap
Mm.
and you look on the ingredients and you really don't know what that is. That's because it's not normally, you're not buying soap, you're buying a detergent bar.
So
Um,
you're putting a
Sorry.
lot of chemicals right in your body.
Yeah, you're putting a lot of chemicals on your body. We're already eating bad food, so it's going in one way or the other.
Yeah.
And so I would just, it became like an education piece,
Mhm.
just telling people about the different oils that are in there, or the different herbs that are with it. At that time, when I first started, I was still selling tea as well.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So the
so they
two
were kind
haven't
of
been combined just yet back in 2012, right?
right. No,
No, they're
they had
two
become
separate.
separate. Yep, they had become, and then they were together, and now they're separate. And I'm trying to bring the teas back again.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah. So one of the ways I had stopped infusing the bars or infusing the oils, and I just kept saying, okay, what is my niche? What is my niche? What is my niche? And what
Mhm.
all I kept hearing is, go back where you started.
Mhm.
And I'm going, well, I started with tea.
Mhm.
Okay, go back to where you started. And that's all I kept hearing is get back to where you
Yeah.
where you started. And so now the infusion
Yeah. So
is
so
there.
that is so let's talk a little bit more on the infusion part then.
Okay.
So sure, it is unique, right? You have typically when you have a bar of soap, you buy a big brand name bar, there's chemicals and detergents that I can't read. Then you
Right.
have the more natural bars, right, where it's mostly oil based, right?
Mostly. Yep.
But then now you're infusing,
Excuse me.
to it and herbs.
Hmm. Hmm.
What does that do to the bar of soap?
So just like drinking a cup of tea,
Yeah, I have my green tea right here.
but I made mine.
Mhm.
um, so all the good things that are in the tea, the vitamins, the nutrients, the caffeine, in some cases, if it's a black tea, or if it's from the Camellia sinensis plant,
Yeah.
you're going to get a level of caffeine. all those things are now going to go on the skin
Mm,
and being absorbed into the skin.
okay.
So you may find that, you may have had a little cellulose, and now you're washing with this soap, because I do have a coffee soap.
Ooh,
I know, right?
does
I
it
have
wake you up
two.
in the morning?
Right. But see, it's working on those fatty, tissues in the body, and then the green tea with the anti-aging, the anti-inflammatory. So everything that you put in, you need to put on.
Yeah. Oh,
That's the philosophy of it.
yeah. And have you seen some positive results from using it yourself or others? What has been some of the feedback from your?
So for me, I am I'm 50, and I have not a wrinkle.
Really good.
And what I get is, what kind of soap do you use? I said, I only put on my skin what I make. That's one of the ways that I introduce my business to people. And
Mm,
they say, oh my God, your skin is almost flawless. And I don't wear a lot of makeup.
yeah.
You know that. And so that, and then I've had people, like my son had severe acne,
Mm.
and nothing that we did worked until he used the African black soap.
Oh, wow.
My niece swears, she just wrote a review just yesterday on, she will not use anything else on her face but the African black soap. I've had many people come back. I have people waiting right now, like, hey, I'm out of soap. I'm out of soap. My skin doesn't itch anymore
Yeah.
since I've been using your soap. I don't feel like I have to put on a whole lot of lotion. I said, well, I don't use lotion anyways because it's water based, but that's another story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's,
So,
I've
so
heard tons
you're
of,
you're you're literally a walking testimonial, right?
I am,
But
I am.
also, others, other family members that have used your products have given it wonderful reviews. Uh,
Correct.
Now, you mentioned, others are asking you, okay, I need my next batch. So
Right.
let's talk about how are you producing this, and I guess volume wise, is that one of your challenges, your struggles producing the product, or do you have a third party vendor that you work with? Say, hey, this is the formula, this is the recipe. I need you to make this.
No, it's all me.
Oh wow.
It's
Okay.
all me.
Yeah.
I generally make it all in small batches,
Yeah.
um, about 3 pounds or 3 to 10 pounds at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I actually just reformulated yesterday. So everything that's going to be made as of today is going to be the new formula. It's one of three new formulas,
Yeah.
just to improve upon the oils and the nourishment for the skin. So that's what I wanted to do. And I also wanted to kind of streamline, so I'm not buying a whole lot of different carrier oils and things like that. That it may have a different infusion in it, but the basic, the ingredients will be the same or similar.
Okay.
So
Is
that's
So, like, is there a reason why you're creating it in smaller batches, mainly because of the limitations of your manufacturing process, or, do you have concerns about the expiration of herbs or oils? There's a shelf life to this too, right?
absolutely, absolutely. Once it goes through the saponification process, what a word, huh?
Yeah,
Um, it increases the shelf life, but I don't want to keep old oils laying around either.
yeah,
So the smaller batches is so that I can have control and maintain control. I write out each and every one every time I write it. Every time I make a batch, I write it down. It's dated.
nice.
Um, it's just so that if something happens, it's generally dated on the bars too when I label them.
Mm,
So that if something does go wrong with that bar, then I can go back to my files and say, okay, well, on this day, this was the weather,
yeah.
this was going on, and then I can kind of go back and kind of troubleshoot so that I can correct the problem.
Wow, this is really good information. Thank you for sharing this, because like others, they don't realize, all this little detailed nuances, right? That
Hmm.
is required to run a beauty or a soap business.
Right.
Now, I guess, what is what is your next step? Like we're actually today, January 1st,
January
2020,
1st.
right? Where do you see your business going?
Well, thanks. um, I'm gonna step out and do more shows. Actually looking to start booking.
Okay. Now,
And
so can you clarify shows? Because others might say, what? You're going to a show?
craft show,
Show?
craft shows,
Craft show. Okay, craft shows. So like
craft
what?
shows.
So for people that don't know what a craft show is like, can you tell us a little bit more on that too?
Okay, so a craft show is something that you go to, and there's various vendors. Like one of the ones that I do most of the time is called the Ultimate Ladies Night, which is owned and ran by a girlfriend of mine, and she has actually one coming up, but I won't be vending. Um, and so you can have various vendors selling all kinds of things, from purses to makeup to maybe you may have someone there giving chair massages.
Yeah.
It just varies from event to event.
Okay.
And soap makers or natural body product makers are there. Jewelry, tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of jewelry makers out there. And you go and you sell your wares, or you go and you buy different unique items that you can't just readily find anywhere.
Okay. Now, do they happen on a monthly, quarterly, basis? Like, how often do these shows come up?
Ooh, yeah, weekly.
Weekly. Wow.
Yeah,
So
they
are you
happen weekly.
out there weekly at different shows, or?
I am not. I don't have that much time.
Yeah.
Being that I do work a full-time job as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do work a full-time job. So I'm not out there as often, but I do plan this year to really get out there. And also looking to get the website up and get that going again too.
Yeah. So with the website, what do you hope to see on your website, and the website doing for you?
Growth.
Growth. Okay.
I'm looking to see tons of growth. I want to outgrow my basement.
Yeah. Now, are you selling products online?
I will be. I haven't. Most of my products have been sold really word of mouth or at a show.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So right now you go to a show, they see your product, and then they buy right on the spot, or they have your business card and they email you, or they're calling you for the next batch. Is that how it works?
Yeah. Well, they're also mainly contacted either. They either call me, text me, or they contact me on Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook has been really good to me as far as people being able to find me. And I'm also on Instagram, and I have a pretty large following on Pinterest as well. But yeah, they call me, they tell me what they want. We, kind of hash it out. They shoot me the money, or they pay me when we meet up. Or sometimes I mail it. So it just depends on, what works for the customer.
Wow, this is like hustle. All right.
It is. And for me, like that personal customer service,
yeah, for
I
sure.
think customer service is a lost art, and it is truly an art. And just being there and being like really personal with my customers is so important to me.
Oh wait, so you're saying you have to talk to people to be in business?
Yeah, I kind of like
with them. What?
A little bit.
Just
Okay, a lot.
Page?
Yeah, I even check on them. I check on them even after. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
You need anything else? I'll be at this location. Things like that, or even just to check to see how they're doing. Not necessarily about business, but I want to build that rapport.
Yeah,
with
that
people.
personal touch, right?
Yeah.
Now, also, I'm guessing they're giving you feedback too, right? On your products, and
yes.
do you tweak it based on that?
Sometimes. Excuse me. We had a woman a few months ago that back in the summer of last year that would not buy anything that did not have lavender in it. My daughter's in the next room, and she said, "Oh my God." said, I'll buy anything lavender. I'll buy anything lavender.
I love lavender.
They were like, here's some bath bombs, you know. And she did not. And she said she did not buy them, but she just kept saying anything lavender. So I have a soap that has lavender and chamomile in it, but she wanted just lavender. I may do a lavender soap this year, see how it does.
Oh, nice, nice. So you do get feedback, and you might come up with some new products based on demand, right? So that's good. That's good. Now, anything else like you're doing to promote your business outside of going to trade shows? You know, I'm guessing you get a lot of referral business now, right? Word of mouth. Anything else that you're looking to promote? Like you're looking at building your website.
Excuse me.
Putting your products on there. Have you looked at any of the other online options? Like
well, I had tried Etsy, and I did not do very well on Etsy.
This is good to know. Why? Why is that?
I'm not exactly sure. To me, and maybe for me, Etsy's flooded.
Okay, so the market's too saturated, right?
Correct.
You're eating a lot with all these other companies and brands on Etsy. Okay.
Yeah, so I kind of pulled off of there. And no, I haven't thought about anywhere else because I was kind of convinced by a really nice person that I should just do my own site.
Okay. Yes. So website and social media has been really helping. Or you mentioned you had a lot of followers on was it Instagram, Pinterest?
Mostly on Pinterest.
Okay.
Now, so I'm looking to build that up too. Yeah, my Pinterest is out there.
Really? So, but you have a lot of followers. So when I think of Pinterest, I just think of cool photos. When I'm thinking of like inspiration, I go on Pinterest. So how would you sell your products on Pinterest?
Well, Pinterest allows you to sell on, if you have a business account. You can also look at how well you're doing, how many hits you're getting, if you do it as a business account. And I think they also allow you to sell right there. I do not pin a lot of my things as of last year, but beginning this year, I will be pinning more of my products on Pinterest as well.
Good to hear. Yeah. So that's very interesting because not every day do I hear like, yeah, you know, we promote our business. We have a big following on Pinterest. So this is a unique area. So I guess any tips, any final tips for someone that's thinking about starting their beauty business? What would you tell them?
I would say a few things. First thing I would say is have no fear. We've all been there. The other thing I would say is latch on to someone that you feel that you can trust, that will show you the way. And don't be afraid to ask questions. I mean, there are some catty people out there, but then there are people that want to see you succeed just as much as you want to succeed. And that would be my advice. You know, I'm here to help anybody. I'm not going to give you my formulas, but
that's top secret.
But I'll help you. I'll help you do whatever.
Yeah, and that's really same thing. You know, how the show started was to try to get our, get out there and help other beauty entrepreneurs too.
Yeah.
So thank you again for being on the show. Now, if anyone wants to reach you, right, what would be some of the best ways to reach you?
I would still say Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook would be the best.
Okay. Can you spell that out? Facebook.com/
Aava's Divine Wellness.
And Aava spelled
AAVASDIVINEWELLNESS. Aava's Divine Wellness.
So make sure to
email me
like that page, and we'll put it up too on our page too.
Great.
If you go to the link, you can click on that too.
That'll be awesome. They can email me, Yolanda at aavasdivinewellness.com. Instagram is it Instagram / Aava's Divine Wellness, or just at Aava's Divine Wellness on Instagram. Pinterest is the whole following thing is kind of tricky. So just those three would be great.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. And again, we'll have this information down in the resource area right on our blog article post.
That's great.
And so anyone that wants to find that information will also be there. So
awesome.
Again, and you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.